No testing. We're professionals here. Hey, everyone. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Liverpool Connection podcast. We're here in Jono's garage um, doing this podcast. We want to preview the Arsenal match coming this weekend. So, Jono, we have our Erdinger.
Erdinger in for Klopp, man. And we're stealing this a little bit from the Anfield rap. You know, they have their Friday night Erdinger, but hey, anything for Klopp.
Well, cheers. Anything
Cheers,
for
dude.
Klopp? Any reason to drink a
We've
pint?
gone Duke cool. So, you know, because it's winter here in Texas.
That's right. We're doing our cold version.
Cheers, man.
That's the kind of pour you get in the garage and not at BD Riley. So anyway, but we're here. We're going to talk about Arsenal, but real quick, I'm still kind of rejoicing after that Chelsea beatdown. We just dominated them. So quick thoughts on that before we get into the Arsenal match.
That was fucking amazing. That was so good. That first half, we completely took them apart, dominated them. Um, you know, Bradley, what can you say? I mean, just but everybody was just fantastic, and it should have. We were counting the shots by Nunez about 10 minutes in, and we were like, "Was that 4 shots? 5 shots? Could have been 3-4 nil in the first, you know, 20 minutes." But then, and then it got a little worrying that it was like still 2-0, but and then we got the penalty, and you thought, this is done. Um, but either way, even with the missed penalty, I mean, we killed them in that first half. Their spirit was gone, and then the rest of the game was just pretty straightforward, I think. Right?
You're right on all those, but I mean, it's just amazing that you just look at how much Chelsea has spent on that team, and and they still have no methodology of how they were playing, with their structure and and I, it's just weird, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
it's almost like there used to be a team full of forwards, and now they're a team full of midfielders, and they still don't know how to play together, and it's just weird, man. And Pochettino and is usually can get things structured, but they're gonna have to spend a lot more money again this summer.
I think they just went too far, too quick, too far, and because in that game, I mean, you could see in moments the quality of Enzo, and and even though he didn't have a great game, Caicedo a little bit too. You could see that there was quality in the midfield, but they were just. I think they just changed so much so quickly that those guys were just trying to run around, put out fires, and we were. And combined with us being brilliant, um, I I've no doubt that you put Enzo or Caicedo in our team, they look like proper good players. Um, so I felt a tiny bit sorry for them, but then again, not because it's like clearly they went for the money, and you know, hey, good luck to them in Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, good luck to them, and a lot of that, players are purchased before the manager comes in there, and he's trying to get them all playing together. But we might have that same situation next year when we get a new manager and trying to integrate players and styles. But until then, we boss them around. We pressed them from the opening whistle. That first half, that was the old Gegen press that we've seen before, and Jones running all over the place pressing. McAllister had his what a great game he had,
Yeah.
you know, and then Zoboslai coming back into the lineup and his energy, and we really didn't give them any respite on trying to work out of the back, and they a couple of times, but systematically we just really put them to the sword, and it was great to see. And this Liverpool team is so fun to watch, and just dismantling, a team that cost $1 billion put together. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those three guys you mentioned in the midfield, Jones, McAllister, and Soboslai. I've been a tiny bit critical of Soboslai when I'm watching him. I'm a little frustrated that sometimes his passing isn't quite just to feet and stuff. But then again, I mean, he puts a couple of long balls in the game that are just beautiful switches. And but that aside, like you said, what the main thing they're doing is Jones and Soboslai in particular are just like they're pressing like crazy. And Soboslai right now, he's maybe not in his top form in terms of creation, but his defensive game is like just outstanding. And you have to get him in the team just because he's just pressing constantly and he's so fast. He covers so much ground. And then Jones the same. I don't. We talked during the game against Chelsea first half. We didn't think he had a great first half, but I still wouldn't think of dropping him because he's just pressing all over the field and he's just winning the ball back like Genie used to do just constantly. And then you've got McAllister was just like controlling the whole game. It felt like, and I think that Chelsea's problem was more like up the field. You know, their midfielders were they were giving away yellow cards in the first half, both of their defensive mids because they just nobody was sticking the ball up front, so they were just constantly fighting battles back. You know, because we were just pressing them so well.
Yeah, I mean, they had to resort to long balls up to their front players, and Gomez again played the fullback position. You know, it's hard to find fault in him.
Yeah,
You have Van Dyke back there and Kanate. They're winning everything in the air, and so when you can't pass through the lines and you resort to those long balls, and we're winning those and coming right back, and we had him in there, and it looked like a training session a lot of
yeah, it
times
really
during
did.
that first half. So
Yeah, and then the guys that they had hoped that would bring in like pace and attacking and so on. I mean, like you said, Gomez had just shut down the likes of Sterling, you know, and Bradley shut down whoever was playing on the left. And you saw the frustration with the likes of Chilwell just trying to flop every here, there, and everywhere because he knew he couldn't get anything elsewhere. And then they bring in Mudrik, who just like I don't know what the heck's going on with that guy. I mean, the first time I saw him play, I was like, in one of his first games, he came on as a sub against us. I was like, oh crap, that guy looks dangerous. But then you quickly learn he's just fast at running in a straight line, and then that's literally it. It just goes nowhere. And obviously, his confidence is a bit shot now. He probably turn into a half decent player at some point. Um, I imagine. Maybe he won't.
well,
But
we had draws against them, what, 7 games in a
yeah,
row, and then
true.
even the
Yeah.
two cups that we played last 2 years ago against them. We those are we drew, and then we had to go to penalty kicks again. So just to get a victory finally over them, it felt good.
Yeah, a
Eh,
dominant victory. It was nice because it has been a long time, like you say.
But we'll put a wrap on that game, and now as we're heading towards the weekend, another big matchup. We're playing Arsenal on the weekend, and you if you're looking at the schedule beforehand, 3 games in a week, um, with with Chelsea and Arsenal on the back end. We weren't really looking forward to that on the schedule, that quick turnaround playing Arsenal. But our confidence is so high right now. There's all the players are coming back from injury
Mm-hmm.
that we can rotate, and I'm looking forward to it. I really think that we're going to go into Arsenal and really get a. I think we're going to show them that we mean business. And I know they came and we drew with them at Anfield earlier, but I think we're going to go on the road and we're going to show them that our team has improved, and I don't think they have since the last time we played them.
Well, we already went there in the cup with a fairly weakened team and showed them, even
True.
though it wasn't like it was a one-sided game. It wasn't like we dominated them or anything, but we still managed to do it. And now we've got a much stronger team. I always feel like Klopp. The more we play games against a team, the more I feel like we're gonna do better against them because he learns so quickly against how to beat teams. Chelsea, it
I
feels
mean,
like
you see that even at halftime, the adjustments he
yeah,
makes in games at halftime. I'm always thinking, oh, he's going to make the adjustments at halftime because we said this at the pub. We are a much better second half team,
for sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah, and you got to give Pep Linders credit for that too. He's one of those that is doing that
Mhm.
analysis on a team, but but Arsenal, I mean, it's never going to be easy to go there. They are a good team. There's no doubt, and we have had some. we've rode our luck a little bit in first halves against them, where they've played well. Doesn't mean we didn't deserve the point or whatever, because we've done well in second half and so on. So it will be tough, but I mean, I tell you, it's hard to pick a team. There's so many choices right now, especially when it comes to the fullbacks. Um, I feel like the front line in the midfield, because we there's not a ton of super tired legs there, and there should be guys that are ready to go in their front line and midfield spots. But there's some choices to be made, a fullback in particular, right now.
Well, let's start up top. Who are you thinking? You thinking we start the same 3-4 Jota, Diaz, and Nunez up top, or will Gapco come in there since he was just a sub on against Chelsea?
So Gakpo does start the Arsenal Cup game, but then it's the Cup game, right? So I personally, I feel like he's got to go with the same front three. He takes Jota off early, right? I think it was 60 to 70 or something. And Jota was phenomenal against Chelsea. He was just, and so he's riding a high. Nunez is Nunez again. He could have had potentially had a hat trick in that first 15 minutes. Um, and it's not bad shooting. It's he's just a bit unlucky. And then he gets an assist in the end. Um, he does play the full 90, but I think he's fine. He that guy's crazy fit. I think he can start. Uh, did Diaz play the whole game? I don't remember against Chelsea. The only thing is, I think Diaz might have looked a little bit tired, so maybe, but I would still start him. I mean, because he created so much in that game, and he gets a goal. He looked fit enough when he tapped in that back post assist from Nunes.
Yeah, I think that Diaz obviously he's found his form again. Nunez, like you said, his fitness levels are up there because he's pressing the whole game.
Yeah,
He's creating chaos from the opening whistle to the end. I mean that late assist that he got to Diaz, and and I think Jota, you just have to play him right now.
100%.
He's on fire. So I mean, so that kind of takes care of the front. The midfield, I think that we should just stick to the same midfield. Jones, McAllister, Zoboslai. What do you think?
No question. Unless there's some kind of fitness thing, I think that's our. I think it's our best starting midfield. There might be games where you could argue maybe you want Endo over McAllister if everybody's fit or something like that. And let's not even talk about the idea of Thiago if he was full fit. But you know, right now, given the way the season's gone, I think Jones, McAllister, Soboslai is your best midfield, and Soboslai should be fit and raring to go. He's played enough in the last couple of games, minutes. Um, McAllister took a couple of knocks, so you know, but I think it seems like he'd be fine, and I think Jones could go. Yeah, definitely those three.
Yeah, and you still have Gravenberch and Elliott off the bench if you need them to bring in some more pace at the end
Sure.
of games to press. And that's exactly what Elliott did when he came in,
Yeah.
right? He just pressed all over the place and make sure that the tempo of the game was still high.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the options we have on this team um, right now,
Now
even
is
in
where it gets tricky.
it gets tricky. We do have a whole week of rest afterwards, so I can see him,
Yeah.
playing the same front and back. Now let's everybody's. I know you guys are all been waiting for us to talk about the defense and the fullbacks, and it is kind of a dilemma
It is.
because you have Robbo, your boy
So let's take the
Robbo.
left first.
Okay, let's take the left. You got Gomez or Robbo. Gomez the last two times he's played against Saka, shut him down, right? Shut him down. He's hardly got a sniff. Gomez has played every game, and so what are your thoughts? You think Robbo is going to come right back in? Not come right back in because he did play, but I mean, does he start this game just because Gomez has played so many games recently?
So so that's a good point. So if 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 it was for nothing else but just fitness levels and the amount of games he had played, basically I would be starting Gomez, no doubt. Robbo is just coming back. He's been out 3 months. Yeah, apparently because of the injury, he's been able to run a lot, so he's probably in pretty good shape. But that's different than being in match fit shape, right? And so starting him, you're risking having to take him off. Whereas Gomez, you could definitely play him the whole game if you need to. But like you said, he has played a lot of games, so you know I don't really understand the whole red zone thing in terms of fitness. I'm no fitness expert, but I I go by the
Yeah,
coach.
don't worry about all the weight equipment and bicycles hanging up.
No,
He doesn't know about fitness. He has equipment though.
if you know the amount of injuries I've had in the last couple of years. So if the experts, the boffins, as they say, are telling him that Gomez shouldn't start, then you bring a Robo in. But if for if it's not that, then absolutely Gomez should start. He's deserved it. You've got Robo to come in later in the game if, for example, you feel like you need more attacking width option. Definitely that helps. If you're chasing a goal late in the game, you can bring him in. Um, so that's the only reason I think that you might start Robo. I think Gomez definitely deserves to start as long as you're not running the risk of injuring him.
And what a player Gomez is, because when back in 2019 he was probably one just on par with Van Dyke as our center
Absolutely.
back, right?
Yeah.
He made the English national team as a right back first. Now he's playing left back, and his run of form has just been amazing. I mean, he's shutting down those attackers on that side, and he's kind of really adding a lot to the game where he's had more shots this season than he had his whole Liverpool career, up to this point. So he's playing that hybrid role on that left hand side when Bradley's on the other side, staying wide. So he's coming in, and of course he's right footed, so he wants to drift in anyway, instead of staying wide like Robbo does. But I don't know how you could drop him for this game. I really don't.
And as you say, everybody, I don't think anyone really, before it first happened, thought, oh, Gomez could play that inverted fullback hybrid role. But then, have you ever really seen him do a bad job at it? I mean, he every time he's done it, he's looked fine. Um, yes, he's not going to be playing the kind of balls that Trent plays from that position, but he's he's played good balls and he's played sensible balls and he's played forward passes into attackers that have been useful. So I mean, yeah, it's phenomenal. I you know somebody posted today on social media his they used to call it what, the Melwood lean or the Ampute lean or whatever when they sign. And for some reason with Gomez, I remembered this distinctly because it was on the top of a really tall building in Anfield at Liverpool where they had took his picture, and he looks like a little freaking baby. I think he was only like, what age was he when we signed him? I cannot remember. But he was very young, especially for a centre back. He was like the first time. Now we're used to it with Kwanzaa, and even Kanate was quite young. You never saw young centre backs come in and then go into the first team. And he was, I think, 19, 20, something like that. And, very quickly got into the first team. Phenomenal footballer, just an all round great footballer. And it's brilliant to see him back in there. And, he's not an old guy yet, right? What is he, like 25, 26, something like that? He's got a lot of good years left in him.
Yeah, he does, and he's a talented footballer. And people that try to write him off before, I don't think really watch the game. They just see, he may have misplayed a ball here or there, but just to see the quality that he has. It's interesting when he goes into that hybrid role on the left hand side. When he goes inside, he doesn't go in there to be like Trent to receive the
Right.
ball and spray passes. He goes in there to actually do a double pivot,
Yeah.
right? To stop. So the ball's on the other side. Drifts inside. Now there's two defensive mids. So it's interesting the tactical stuff, and a lot of times you don't see what's going on unless you're looking for it. But you kind of see him drifting in there, and then you have him and McAllister, and they stop any counterattacks coming through the middle. And so it's been great. So I know everybody wants to talk about the right hand side, and now how do you drop a guy that's got man in the match 2 games on the bounce, man? So it really it's
What a player, man! What a guy! It's and it's a tough. This one's much tougher because Trent is a once in a generation phenomenal player. I mean, we cannot. I mean, we were joking about it during the Chelsea game, and we were like, when Trent was about to come on, and I was texting our friends, and I was like, man, you know, we need to rest our guy for the next game. Oh, let's bring this spare Trent on to give him some rest. But and it's obviously a joke because Trent is a phenomenal player, but what's he got? 3 assists and a goal now in 2 games. It's phenomenal. And don't just look at that, right? Look at when you go back and look at what's happened with this guy over the last couple of years. When he went to Bolton, he was as a 18-year-old or whatever. He was their player of the year, not young player of the year, player of the year. Yes, it was League One. It wasn't Championship, but still, those guys are men, right? If you watch Welcome or Wrexham or whatever, it's still tough football. And the guy went and dominated, and it wasn't just player of the year; it was the players' player of the year. So his players all recognized him, and
he played 50 games that season.
right. And I heard, listening to the Anfield Rap today, the review, they said that Neil said that he saw a tweet from a Bolton fan saying that other teams were doubling up on him. They were literally their right back had 2 guys on him every game, trying to mark him out the game because that's how good he was. And and then they also talked about how apparently Man United, Chelsea, as a 15-year-old, we're all trying to get him, and we got him. He was already playing for the Northern Ireland 16s or whatever. So this is not such a surprise. It's maybe a little bit surprise to us because he got injured right at the start of the season. He probably would have had a number of games before now. Maybe we would have been thinking of him a bit more like
Well, if
Kewley.
he didn't break his back, he might have gone
Right.
out on loan.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, all that anything can happen with a young kid. Now it's only 4 games, and he's riding a wave right now, and you don't want to go crazy with him. I'm sure Klopp will want to take him out, after a little while. But sometimes you want to ride that wave, when the confidence is high. And so I have no idea what the right decision is, whether to play him against Arsenal. On the one hand, you're like, he's such a solid defender, and he can give you that width and play the game a bit like Robbo. Is that better against Martinelli? I mean, he played him fantastically when he came on as a sub
Yeah,
in
he shut him
last
down.
game.
That's the first game he came in for Trent after
So
Trent pulled his hammy. He
right,
came in there to shut Martinelli down the rest of the game,
there's
right?
a big argument to play him in this game. And now you can then, if you're going to play him, you can go back to the midfield and start trying to make an argument for Trent. But personally, I don't know. I think personally, I'm on the right now in the moment. I would stick with the same team we started Chelsea pretty much, and give those 2 guys a game. You can always bring in Trent and Robbo um, to change it if you need to.
Yeah, it's just such a big game to put your vice
It
captain on
is.
the bench, isn't it? Right? But yeah, that's
I
that's
wouldn't be
that.
surprised either way. Basically, I wouldn't be upset. I'd be like, and the thing is, I think nobody's going to really complain. Even Bradley, he's not going to complain if he's suddenly back on the bench. Gomez, it's a little bit different. Like he's in form, and he's a more senior player. He's the most senior player in our team. Um,
Well,
where
yeah, go ahead.
whereas with with Trent and Bradley, it's a little bit more like you know, I don't.
Well, it's funny because when you have your lineup and then you have your bench players, and usually when you say, "Hey, we have difference makers on the bench," they're not your right back,
Yeah,
right? So whichever way they go, if they start Trent and then he gets tired at the end, you bring in Bradley and
yeah.
he's flying down the wing, or vice versa. You're bringing Trent in and he goes into a hybrid role and or for a midfielder. I don't think Klopp in this game is going to just say, okay, we're going to put Trent in midfield, because then
No,
you really weaken the midfield, because you want to play Soboslai, Maka, and Jones in there, right? But what I mean, it's not a problem. It's just
no,
a
it's a
it's just
fucking brilliant, is what it is. This squad, it's unreal, Steve. How it's suddenly transformed into such a deep, strong squad, and we're still talking about Salah not being there. Look how devastating it is. We're barely talking about the likes of Elliot or Gravenberg because they're useful and they're really good players when they come on, but you know there's there's such strength in the rest of the team. It's amazing.
you brought up Salah, so let's talk about that. When he went to Afcon, everybody's like, where are the goals going to come from? How are we going to play? The goals is spread out among the whole team, and we play a different style. Like the front
Yeah,
three are very fluid. Having this conversation earlier, and you don't know where they're going to pop up in that front line. I saw Diaz pressing on the right in the
yeah,
corner. Jota comes through the middle on his goal. I mean, the balls to do a croquette at speed against two center backs. Take my money, please. I will pay to watch you any day. But so they're very fluid up there, and I think even without Salah there on the right, that gives Bradley that space to run into,
hmm,
whereas usually
yeah,
Salah would be there,
yeah,
and I think that a young player like that would probably be very deferential when he got the ball, looking to Salah to play that ball to him at his feet all the time. So I think it'll be interesting when Salah does come back on, and if Bradley plays that right back, how that works, because they haven't played together really yet, and so but the attack, there's so many different ways that we can go on attack against anybody's defense. Where the midfield is contributing goals, the defenders are contributing goals and assists. The front line, obviously, you don't know which one of those guys is going to pop up with a goal or an assist.
yeah. It's funny because I feel like we have a little bit on that right side at various times. We've kind of, I feel like when we had Henderson at his peak fitness, he would kind of more overlap Salah wider, right? Salah would come inside and he
Well,
would
well,
really,
that was like the year before last, right?
right,
Then when Salah started coming inside more, and Hendo was doing the
yeah,
overlapping versus Trent wasn't overlapping. It was a tactical
right,
switch, but that's when Hendo had legs to do that,
right.
right? So
And then he didn't. And then we also had Trent going inside, so we really kept Salah wide, wide, wide. And and now with that Bradley option, I feel like it's more like the left side where with Robbo that we have that option at least. We don't have to do it every game. We don't have to go that way, but it's nice to have that even when Salah comes back. You know, it'd be nice to see how that works. I mean, we may not do it all the time, but I'd like to see Salah shift over into the middle and have that overlap option available to him. It'd be awesome.
yeah, I mean, Salah might not get back into the squad anytime soon either.
I know, man.
Just, I mean, that's the embarrassment of riches. You have the backups to the
Well,
backups.
the way Jota is, I mean, it was funny. I listened to a podcast that it was the Arsenal guy on the Anfield Rap show, and yeah, you're welcome for all these Neil Anfield Rap, but they the guy talked about who they thought was the most clinical finisher from the Arsenal perspective in the Liverpool squad, and they thought, well, it's Salah, but then it's Jota, and Neil pointed out, it's like from the Liverpool side, Jota is for sure the most clinical, way more clinical, I feel like, than Salah. Like he takes probably the percentage of chances he takes. He's so deadly. Now Salah does more in the game, but Jota, especially right now, man, he is just so deadly.
He's more two-footed than Salah when
Yeah,
he's shooting.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he can finish from any angle on falling down, either foot in the air. I mean, he just. But obviously, I'm not trying to say that Salah doesn't bring so much to the rest of his game. So it's brilliant to have them all. All our forwards offer such different things, and even Gakpo when he comes on, you know, I think we're a little bit maybe underestimating what he does because yeah, we're all saying Diaz, Nunez right now, and Jota should start. And Gakpo can be a little frustrating, but then you look at the stats, and he's come on in games, and we generally win games the second half, and he's part of that. So he's setting up a lot of goals. He's maybe not putting a ton of them in the bag right now, but he's still contributing.
Yeah, I think when Gapco comes in, he recognizes spaces
Mm-hmm.
a little bit better than Nunez does, right?
Yeah.
Nunez is like kind of really straight ahead, where Gapco kind of finds that he times his runs better, kind of like when Firmino, he just finding those pockets of spaces, and Gapco just taps the ball, and he's there in the right place at the right time. But really, in my opinion, it doesn't matter the lineup. I would think we have too much for Arsenal. I know they came to Anfield and they didn't really want to play. We drew that game, but I think we're going to go there, continue the momentum that we've shown these last game, well, since we played them the last time actually, and then we have a week off. And so prediction, what's your prediction, John?
I do think it'll be tough, even though we're in awesome form. Um, Arsenal have recovered well from us beating them. They're still a little bit, weak up top. That's their weakness. I think I think it'll be. I'll go for a 2-1. I will say I won't be devastated if we tie them because that's not the worst result. Even though it might bring City up kind of essentially level with us if they win the game in hand. Um, but that's still a phenomenal position to be in. And, you know, it'll just come down to the rest of the season who's got the best record. And we still got to play.
Hey, so one more. We're assuming that Kanate and Van Dyke start.
Perhaps 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I still have in the back of my head the whole Kanate fitness thing that he doesn't want to overdo him. But I think there's no doubt away to Arsenal that you play Virgil and Kanate, and I think Klopp will have known that when the Chelsea game happened, and if he thought there was a slight issue, he would have brought Kwanzaa in. But yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because that would have been a perfect time to give Kanate a rest or Van Dyke that game, bring Kwanzaa in, and
And
he didn't. So I'm assuming that both of them will be fit enough to play on Sunday.
and I'll just say about Kanate that I think his it might be in a couple months ago. I was noticing, some of the some of his he was trying to play some of the switch long balls to the wings that Virgil does so beautifully, and every now and again a few of his passes weren't so good, but really the last few games his his passing out the back has just been improved and improved, and I think they're just working on that. And I know that Kwanzaa is excellent at that too. And I think that's one of the things that they're working on. Hey, you're not going to be able to just press Virgil and then leave one of our center backs open, like because they can't, create an attack from it. All of our center backs right now can ping balls out to whoever's sitting out wide on the wing, or Nunez or Diaz, and they're just gonna whatever the pressure you bring, they're gonna be able to find it. And I think Kanate has done phenomenal that last few games.
I think Paul Tompkins did a some analysis that showed that Kanate was leading in progressive passes.
Oh yeah,
So what progressive passes? What
right,
30 yards or more,
right,
and so it was kind of showing Kanate's range, and as he plays more games, gets more comfortable. He's pinging those diagonal balls
yeah,
that we're used to just having Van Dyke doing it from the other side,
right,
but now both center backs are
yeah.
doing it. And really, I mean, if you can have that center back switch that ball over to the other wing and have Diaz one on one with somebody over there, that's going to be a
But
long day for
if
that
you
fullback.
if either one of your center backs can ping to the wing, if McAllister can't be pressed in the middle with his back to the goal like he's been the last few games, good luck to anybody pressing our team.
That's right. Yeah, it's so much fun. So like, I've predicted a draw the last 3 games, and we've
Stick with it, and then Steve.
yeah. So I'm gonna go for the draw again, but even though I think we're gonna kick the shit out of them. So anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Please subscribe, put on your notifications, like our channel. We enjoy making these videos for you guys. And a real quick public service announcement: Jono's gonna be back when at the end of the season.
In Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Liverpool hopefully in the final weekend of the season.
So if any of you guys that really love us and have an extra ticket, give it to me because then I'll go there too.
You wanker.
Anyway, cheers, guys. See you guys after the game on Sunday, and look forward to beating the Arsenals, beating the Gooners.
The Gooners.
Okay, it's time to end because I'm out of beer. Cheers.